Okay, in the early part of learning limits, these are two limits, probably a good idea to memorize. Later on, when you learn L'Hopital's rule, you don't have to memorize them. You can just use L'Hopital's rule to simplify. But here they are. The limit as x approaches 0, sine of x over x. These two have to be the same. So if that said 3x, this would need to say 3x. Sine of x over x is equal to 1. And then the limit as x approaches 0, 1 subtract cosine x, that expression over x is equal to 0. And let me go ahead and show you how you would use, I'm going to show you how to use this one, then I'm going to show you L'Hopital's rule for this and for the cosine rule. All right, so if we have the limit as x approaches 0, sine of 3x over x, this does not have the 3 attached, so we would have to multiply the denominator by 3. If we do that, we have to multiply the numerator by 3. So we did that, and then remember the scalar rule. If a limit's being multiplied by a scalar, then you can take that scalar and put it on the outside. So we can say this 3 right here that's being multiplied by the limit, we can bring to the outside and rewrite it as the limit as x approaches 0, sine of 3x over 3x. Well, remember this rule, as long as these two are the same, that limit is going to equal 1. So now what you're going to have is 3 times 1, which is 3. So let's do another one. So now you've got 2x in the denominator, but it's supposed to equal x. So we would have to multiply that by 1/2 in order to get rid of that 2. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to multiply the denominator and the numerator by 1/2. Then we bring that scalar on the outside and rewrite it as the limit of sine x over x. And this, this rule up here, sorry about that, tells us that as long as these are the same, look what I left off, as x approaches 0. So you have 1/2 times 1 equals 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to show you L'Hopital's rule. So when you do direct substitution, when you put 0 in for x, you get 0. Sine of 0 is equal to 0. So you would use L'Hopital's rule. Remember, L'Hopital's rule is introduced after you've already studied derivatives. So if you haven't studied derivatives yet, this is not going to make sense. But if you have, L'Hopital's rule says that when you use direct substitution, if you get 0 over 0, then you can take the limit again, but take the derivative of the numerator and the derivative of the denominator. Well, the derivative of sine x is cosine x, and the derivative of x is 1. Now you can use direct substitution. Well, cosine of 0 is 1, and 1 divide 1 is 1. So that's what confirms, the limit as x approaches 0, sine of x over x is equal to 1. We just confirmed that with L'Hopital's rule. Okay, so here's an example, L'Hopital's. So if I have sine of 3x over 3, well, instead of doing what I did before where I multiply top and bottom by 3, I can just take the derivative of the numerator and the denominator. The derivative of sine 3x is 3 times, cosine of 3x, sorry about that. And the derivative of x is 1. Well, when we substitute in 0, 3 times 0 is 0. Cosine of 0 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. All right, that's it for this.